Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and today I want to show you some GJ Locks Yale Superior, Yale Platinum and Apex Miller hand picks, and these are designed to be tensioning tools with bitting markings or pin spacing markings on them, which allow you to tension these locks and access the sidebar sliders without having to remove your tensioning tool. You can tell this type of lock by the key. You can see that it's got your standard dimple lock bitting, but it's also got this slider track. And you might be able to see down in there, just at the top there, some of these little sliders. If you get the light in there, you can just see them all down on the left-hand side there. And for full disclosure, before I carry on, this set was provided to me by GJ Locks for the purposes of this review and to keep all thoughts my own. It's not a paid review. The only other thing I would say is this is an earlier version of the kit, so please do check out the GJ Locks website to see what comes in yours. I think you actually get an extra dimple lock pick in the set. So how do you use these dimple lock turners, and what advantages do they give over, I don't know, just a normal L wrench or something like that? Well, number one, they're designed to fit nicely into the keyway and provide some nice control over your tension, either anti-clockwise or clockwise. There are also these etched markings which depict the pin spacing, which means if you have a dimple pick, and you can choose one of your choice, it doesn't really matter what, or the one that comes in the kit, then you can use the markings on the dimple pick itself, either these bands or just these grooves or whatever you have, or you can just apply a bit of tape to your favorite pick like this, align the tip with the first pin, and then you can just draw on an index mark with a pen like this, and then you can use that to follow up and down these etchings to see what pin you are on, which is very, very handy. And once you've finished picking all the pins, you need to pick the sidebars. You can then use a sidebar pick tool like this one that comes in the kit to either individually pick the sidebar sliders, or you can just use it to go in and then jiggle the sliders open, whatever you need to do. And because you are still maintaining the tension here, you can take the pick out, you can access the keyway. It's all very easy. And yeah, the whole point of this really is to provide these exact pin space markings on this tool, so you can just use any old dimple pick to pick it. It leaves it open for you to go in there and pick or manipulate the sidebar sliders, and then you'll get the open, and we will do some demos. If you were to use a standard Z wrench like this, then you wouldn't have any of those pin position markers, which are so helpful. And likewise, if you had a 2-in-1 dimple pick like these Lishy picks, then once you'd finished picking it, you wouldn't be able to access the keyway here to manipulate the sidebar sliders. I forgot to say that the kit also comes with just a standard dimple lock turner like this, which you can then use to pick your dimple locks. It's just an extra little thing. It has a nose on which can activate those sprung cams at the back. You can see it's springy, so that's a nice addition too. So I have the Yale Superior, Platinum and Apex Miller hand picks, so let's actually find some locks that these fit in and go have a pick. And I'll be picking these today. I have a Yale Platinum, which is the 9-pin variant, and you can see the bitting there. I have the corresponding tensioning tool like that. Then I have, what else would I have? Oh, I need a pick. So I've got this one, which I made out of an audio coupler and some spare dimple pick ends. I've got a video on that. And what the good thing about this is it's got these little markings on here, which just came with the coupler. And I can use those to align with these grooves instead of using tape or pen. So that's what we'll do. We're just going to put some tension in, put my pick in, align this with where I know the center groove here aligns with the pins, and we'll just have a go at picking. That's 9's binding, 8 now, 7 nothing, 6 nothing, 5 nothing, 4 nothing, 3's binding. Let's try 2 nothing, 1 nothing. Okay, back to a little click on 9 nothing on 8, nothing 7 6 5, anything on 4, no 3, again. Let's go back through, try, yes, I just hit 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, just check 4 again, 4 and 3, 2 and 1, they all feel picked, so I think we're on the sliders. Now, there's a range of things you could use. You could use, if you like, some broken picks, which you can go down the side of the sliders. You can try to manipulate the sliders like that. You could use something like a short dimple flag and go in there, and you could try to just go in and individually pick the 3 or 4 sliders which are in here, which is easy said than done. It's quite tricky to do it like that. You could also use the tools which come in the kit. It's always the sliders that give me the most pain. Right, we got it. And what we can do then is it's resting now at open. Just go in and press at the back until we trip this little button at the back and it'll open up. Okay, we have a Yale Superior now, which is a 7-pin lock this time. It's a shorter sort of format and the same pick as before. So let's go in with this and see where we're up to. So this is pin 7 here. That's good. 6. Nothing on 5. Little click on 4. Nothing on 3. 2 there. And nothing happening on 1. Okay. So go all the way to the back and check pin 7. 6. 5's binding. 4. 3 little click. 2. 1's binding. Cancel rotation on 1, and oh, the whole lock opened. Look at that. We have this 5-pin slider Apex AP cylinder. So I have the Apex Miller tensioning tool, which is springy because there is a sort of like a button at the back which you need to press to activate the cam, and that's what that little nose on that does. I'll use the same tensioning tool, but this time I'm going to tension on the clockwise, starting at the back. Again, using the markings on my pick to help me navigate the lock. That was 5, 4, nothing on 3, 2's binding, and we're already, I think, against the sliders. And I'm going to use my slider tool to get in there and jiggle it. Might use the other way up actually. I like using this side with the pick end and just push it all the way in. Give that a wriggle. And yeah, we got the open. There we go. So I hope you enjoyed those demonstrations. As you can tell, these tools work extremely well and very effectively in the lock types that they were designed to open, which are the Yale Superior and Platinum and the Apex Miller dimple locks with slider sidebars. So let's have a look at the pros and cons. Well, first off, let's look at the prices. At the time of filming on the GJ Locks website, these are £59.99, excluding VAT and postage. So that will vary. And also prices will change over time, of course. Pros then. As a halfway house between your standard dimple lock tensioning tools and a specific 2-in-1 modular pick set for picking this type of lock, these are a really, really nice halfway house. They are going to be more expensive than standard turning tools, but far, far cheaper than the 2-in-1 alternatives. So they're a really nice halfway house if you're interested in picking these locks. They are made very well, and I have to say these etched markings are very, very accurate. Once you index your pick of whatever type you want to these markings and you go up and down these markings, you are always going to be on top of the pin you intend to be on top of. It makes picking these locks far, far simpler. It takes off the guesswork out of it. These fit in very nicely to the keyways that they're designed for. They are lowered and cut to fit very nicely into the keyways and provide good tight tension, both anti-clockwise and clockwise. So in terms of how these tools work for these locks and some other similar locks as well, there are a couple in my collection which aren't these brands which these do work in. These work very well. If you do find a dimple lock, which is a sidebar lock that these fit into, these probably will work, but bear in mind that the markings for the pin positions may be different depending on the lock, so you may have to adjust for that. I find that this tool is a bit basic, but it still works exactly as it's meant to do in terms of a slider, pick and sort of jiggler. Once you get used to it, it's perfectly fine, but as I mentioned earlier, you can use a whole host of other things for jiggling your sidebar or picking a sidebar open should you want to. Now, I don't have the dimple pick, which I think comes with this kit now, but I would say as a slight negative that it's probably better to just use a dimple pick that you're familiar with rather than the one that would come with this set. Are there any other cons? Not really. Whilst I don't think it's a con, it's another thing to bear in mind that I'm not sure these really appeal to all hobbyists. In the UK, this type of lock is very, very common. They're good fun to pick, but do you as a hobbyist need to have these special tools? I would say that these are probably more advantageous for a locksmith who wants to pick a few of these locks now and again, but doesn't want to spend a huge amount of money on a 2-in-1 modular tool. It just might not be for them a value add. For some locksmiths, having that 2-in-1, they pick a lot of these. That might be a really big advantage to some other locksmiths who want to pick this type of lock but don't pick them very often, and just need a little bit of help with terms of the indexing and all those kind of advantages that these picks have. This might be for them. For a hobbyist, I'm not so sure, because you know, if you're learning to pick these locks, do you really need these guides? Do you want to spend the money on these tools just to pick this style of lock? I'm not sure. I think for some hobbyists, maybe the answer is yes. But yeah, I do feel that this is pushing more towards the professional end of the market. But that doesn't mean it's not suitable for hobbyists like myself, because they do work. They're very good. They're fun to use. But I think you just have to be aware of what your budget is and what your goals are as a lockpicker. So there you go. I really enjoy using these tools. Thank you to GJ Locks for supplying these to me for review. I think they're very, very effective at what they do. They work exactly as designed. I'd love to know what you think of these in the comments, so do comment below. I do read all the comments and reply to as many as I can. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you think I deserve it, hit subscribe. Both of those things help my channel out loads and loads and loads, and I really appreciate it. Other than that, all I can say is happy picking, stay safe, and I'll see you all next time.